today I'm going to talk a little bit more about the comparison essay assignment. Our assignment for this essay for this week is to write an outline, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through the assignment and then give you some advice about how to do that outline. So first, please make sure that you're in week 10, the comparison essay. If you're not, you can scroll down here on the left side and then click on week 10, okay? Once you're here at week 10, the comparison essay, you can scroll down to the comparison essay assignment. This one says outline because only the outline is due this week. So we're going to click on the title, which is in blue. Once you click on the title, you'll be brought to the assignment submission page. So it describes the assignment. We're going to write an essay, a comparison essay, and it's going to give you 3 topics to choose from. So some of them, for all of them, you're going to choose to either compare. Compare means talk about similarities, or you can contrast. Contrast means to talk about the differences. So for some of them, it might be really obvious which one would be better, compare or contrast. For example, number 1, compare or contrast life before coronavirus and life during the coronavirus. I think quite clearly we're going to have more differences to talk about because life is very different, right? But other ones like number 2, compare or contrast 2 people in your life. You could talk about similarities, you could compare, or you could talk about differences, right? So that depends on the people that you've chosen, right? Down here is suggested organization for the essay. This is exactly like the video where I talked about the organization for this essay and also my example outline, which we'll look at in just a little bit. But I hope this gives you kind of a plan to follow for each of the paragraphs. Notice in this essay, we're going to have 5 paragraphs because we have 3 body paragraphs. That means 5 paragraphs total. Okay, and down here, this is how you actually do the assignment, right? Step 1, we're gonna choose our topic from the box. Those are the 3 choices: coronavirus, 2 people in your life, or what you expected the US to be like versus what the US is actually like. Step 2, you're gonna choose to either compare, tell about the similarities, or contrast, talk about the differences for your topic that you chose. Step 3, you're going to brainstorm ideas. For this one, I really want you to focus on 3 points of comparison. Now, points of comparison, what do I mean by that? Well, if you choose to compare, talk about the similarities, then your points of comparison are going to be 3 similarities of these 2 subjects, right? And if you choose to contrast, if you want to talk about the differences, then your 3 points of comparison are going to be 3 differences for your subjects, right? For example, let's say I choose to write about life before coronavirus and life during coronavirus. I definitely want to talk about differences. I definitely want to contrast. So my 3 points of comparison are going to be 3 differences between life before coronavirus and life during coronavirus, right? I can tell you right now that one of my points of comparison is going to be my job, right? Because my job is totally different before coronavirus versus now during coronavirus, right? And I can talk a lot about what my job was like before and what my job is like now and how they're different, right? So that's one point of comparison. That one point of comparison is going to become my body number 1 because body number 1 begins with a topic sentence that tells your point of comparison number 1. For body number 2, I have to think of a new point of comparison. That means a new difference in my life before coronavirus and now. And then for body 3, I need to think of a third difference, okay? So remember, point of comparison is either 3 similarities or 3 differences, depending on what you chose. Step 4 is going to be to complete the outline. We can do that in a Word document, or we can handwrite it and take a picture. And I'm going to show you that in just a second. And then step 5 is going to be submit the outline below. So when you submit an outline, if it's in a Word document or if it's a picture that you hand wrote and took a picture, you're going to click down here where it says upload. Click on upload. And then you're going to choose your Word document or your picture. So let's say, for example, I did this one. So I'm going to click on open. And then one last step is you're going to come down here. After you say open, you have to click on this blue button that says submit. Okay. If you don't click on this blue button, I won't get your file. So make sure that you click on submit. Okay. I'm not going to do it right now because this is not a good document. Okay. All right. Let's go back to step 4, complete the outline. So I have a couple pieces of advice for this, right? After you've read through this whole assignment and you know what to do and you've chosen your topic and you know if you're going to compare or contrast, I'd like you to go back to week 10, the comparison essay. And we're going to look at 2 things here, right? One is you can go back and watch the video again that talks about the organization and how to make an outline. This is very useful. And if you watched this a few days ago, you might have forgotten about it. So you might want to watch this video again, right? This walks you through the organization of a comparison essay, and it also walks you through how to do an outline. Then I would recommend clicking on example outline for comparison essay. This is the outline that I started to make in the video, and I finished it here so you can see what a good outline for this essay would look like. Notice I have my thesis statement here. I have my body 1's point of comparison is personality because I'm talking about 2 people. So personality is a good way to talk about their differences. And for each point of comparison, I first talk about subject 1. So for example, subject 1 is my brother's personality, and I describe how he's shy and quiet and likes to be alone. And then subject 2, I also have to talk about subject 2 and the point of comparison in that body paragraph. So then I talk about my sister's personality. Well, she's talkative, she's outgoing, she loves being with others, right? So I would highly, highly recommend going through this example outline one more time as you are doing your own outline so you can compare and see how did I do it, and then think about your own ideas for your own essay, okay? If you are writing about your brother or 2 people, don't choose the same points of comparison, right? Don't choose the same ones because you're going to have different ideas, I hope, than me. Okay, going back to week 10, I have one more thing to show you. After you've watched the video again, you've read the example outline, you've analyzed it, I would recommend going down here, comparison essay outline. Right above that, we have your outline for your comparison essay. Click on this one, and it's going to bring you to a blank outline. So this is a guide that you can follow, right? First, I'm going to write my title here. I'm going to write my thesis statement that tells my 2 subjects. Am I talking about similarities or differences? And it's going to talk about maybe the 3 points of comparison, right? Then I'm going to have body number 1. What's my point of comparison, right? Again, for coronavirus, my first point of comparison here is going to be my job, right? Subject 1 is the first thing that you're comparing. So for coronavirus, it's going to be before coronavirus. And I'm going to talk about my job because that was my point of comparison. What was my job like before coronavirus? I'm going to write some details, some examples, and A and B. Subject 2 is the other subject, right? So life during coronavirus. Again, we're going to connect it to the point of comparison, my job. What is my job like during coronavirus? I'm going to add details and examples here. Then I'm going to go on to body 2 with a new point of comparison. I'm not talking about my job anymore, but what is another difference between your life before coronavirus and your life now? Okay, and then talk about each subject about this point of comparison. Okay, so students, I hope this helps. Again, you can copy this into a Word document if you like, or you can handwrite it. That's okay too. Notice that anything that doesn't have lines, like hook and background information don't have lines. That means you don't need to write anything for them right now. Also remember that an outline is just short, simple ideas, words, or maybe phrases, but no full sentences. Only the thesis statement should be a full sentence, okay? Conclusion, we don't need to worry about right now. Okay, I hope that helps answer some of your questions. If you have any more questions or still feel confused, please feel free to reach out to me. But I hope going through it and talking through it helped give you a better idea of what to do in this assignment.